Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to This Week in Crypto Philanthropy. A little bit of a change in the title because we want to focus on crypto and specifically crypto giving. Again, my name is Mikhalevsky, Senior Sales Manager here at the Giving Block, and of course, always joined by my colleague Pietro Moran, Director of Crypto at Shift4. What's going on, Pietro?
Good to see you, Nick. Good to be back. And with a little updated, new and improved name, love to see it. It's going to be a good week.
Absolutely. Yeah, we got a lot to talk about today, and we're just going to kind of dive right into things. A little bit of a rundown of what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to go through a crypto price check as usual. Markets have been moving a lot recently, so Pietro will give an update there. We've got a few great things to celebrate today, so we'll run through those. But more importantly, we're going to talk about some top donations that we're seeing coming through the platform, some fundraising tips, and we'll end with some crypto news. In fact, some breaking news that we've got today in the crypto industry. So a lot to get through. So with that, we'll move right into things. As always, want to do a quick reminder. We have this $500 in Bitcoin when you sign up with the Giving Block. So if you are a new nonprofit that's seeing this for the first time, scan that QR code, go over to thegivingblock.com and get started, kickstart your crypto philanthropy journey with a little bit of, $500 in Bitcoin from the Giving Block. But with that, let's kind of move into the markets. Pietro, what's been going on this week?
I mean, like you said, Nick, never a dull moment. And so nice of the folks breaking the news to make it on the day of the podcast recording, right? We'll get more to that later. But for everybody listening in, really, really exciting week in crypto price action. It's honestly been almost like a breath of fresh air going into the summer. Most people think that financial markets tend to be a little bit sleepy during the summer. Everyone goes on vacation. Not here in crypto. So if you're looking at the live recording here, you'll get a notice that Bitcoin is trading over $70,000. That level has not been seen in quite some time. And honestly, I think we're here a little bit faster than we might have otherwise predicted. So amazing stuff there. You'll also take note that Ethereum trading right around $3,800 per Ethereum. More on that later, but the quick TLDR on that, which is we're seeing a little bit more enthusiasm from regulators around Ethereum ETFs. So we'll touch on that in the news section of the show, but that's a really great sign. A lot of folks are allocated in the Ethereum ecosystem, and it's good to see that less concentration in terms of what's performing. It seems like everything's benefiting nowadays, which is awesome to see. Solana, a little bit over $182. And then a fun sort of meme of the week, Dogecoin trading at 16 cents for anybody who's following that or is on Twitter and sees the memes. But amazing week. We're seeing, almost 10% week over week growth in Bitcoin, which is incredible. I think just a testament to the folks allocating in the space, both on the retail side and the institutional side. But crypto prices are up, and so we have a lot to report on. What do you got for us, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, we're continuing to see some strong giving as a result of everybody's appreciation still continuing to climb, and we'll get to some of those donations here in a second. But a few things to celebrate today of all days. Happy birthday to the Giving Block. We turned 6 years old today. We've been the category kings of crypto for a long time now. So if you've been joining us on this journey, it's great that you've been here with us over the last 6 years. And if you're just joining us, there's still a lot to come. Our co-founders, Alex Wilson and Pat Duffy, have put out a really great message on socials. And, the quote out of, that announcement is about halfway down in their kind of write-up saying, we expect this giving season and year end will be the most successful crypto fundraising period in history. Everything is lining up really nicely for just a massive giving season. And so again, we're already excited at what's been happening with crypto giving so far, but we're really excited about what's coming for the rest of 2024. And I would even contend, deeper into 2025. So again, happy birthday to the Giving Block. Number 2 here, it also happens to be Bitcoin Pizza Day. And if that's something that you've not been familiar with, basically the long and short of it is that was back in 2010 when someone spent 10,000 Bitcoins to order 2 Papa John's Supreme pizzas. It was the first time that an actual, consumer transaction was actually recorded. So check it out. It's great. We'll put a little link in the show note to the Bitcoin Pizza Index. It's always fun this time of year to see just how much those 2 pizzas are valued at. Today, it's just a shade under $700 million, those 10,000 Bitcoin. So always fun to celebrate. enjoy a little bit of pizza today if you don't want to make a dinner tonight. But one thing I want to ask, Pietro, what's kind of like the favorite pizza topping for you? What's kind of the go-to?
So this might get me in trouble. I think the right answer, given my Italian heritage, is no toppings. Margarita, nice and plain, keep it simple. I will say I have tried the pepperoni and pineapple combination or ham and pineapple combination. I can't publicly admit that I like it, but it tastes pretty good, say that much. That being said, love to see that we can incorporate a little bit of Bitcoin history and lore into the show. I know we're more of a, up-to-date breaking news show, but always great to see that we're keeping the tradition alive of capturing interesting and exciting moments that have come across the space, and that's what we hope to do. So we'll sprinkle in the lore and the history while keeping you up to date on new things. But I was going to say, you mentioned something really interesting, Nick, with price appreciation, stuff that I talked about. Everything is going up. Everybody's a little bit euphoric and excited. But how's that translating on the donation side of things?
Yeah, I mean, donations over this past week, and we'll try to keep it, truncated in kind of this like week to week, but really have been continuing to, come through the network. We'll put a link either on the screen or in the show notes. A few organizations have been having several $100,000 gifts come through, $300,000 to a faith-based organization, $270,000 to an educational org, another $170,000 to an international aid group. And this is all just over the last 7 days, the last time that we've, really gone together. Some other gifts that we wanted to put in there and highlight, things that we see come through the network all the time, a $6,000 donation to another international aid group, $5,000 to a conservation group, $5,000 to a private school. The thing that I'm just trying to get across is that not only are these transformative gifts happening, and they're happening in very quick succession, but we're also seeing, these smaller donations that are coming in at a very rapid cadence across all kinds of giving areas, schools, churches, blue chip organizations, small grassroots organizations. Really, it's the crypto giving has been going just about everywhere. And on top of that, we've seen about $370,000 through some of our partnership platforms where donors can also send donations through. And that doesn't even include the $1.4 million Bitcoin donation that we talked about last week's episode to the ITRC, which was made public. So yeah, huge amount of gifts that continue to come through. I guess the thing to let everybody know is that, there are a lot of donors out there that have this, appreciated incentive to give, and they are actively looking. They're either coming to the Giving Block, which of course we're a great place to kind of collect all those donors, but they are actively looking, seeing if it's on a nonprofit's website. If they can't find it, hopefully they come to our side. But there's a lot of activity that's happening on the network, and it kind of leads in a little bit into, sort of the fundraising tip as well. Like we talk a lot, about crypto week to week, but wanted to take a moment to just kind of pause and even like talk about the stock side of things, because almost in every call, when I'm talking to nonprofits, we sort of see that they take all the usual assets, card donations are going through, all the typical platforms, and appreciated securities or donor advised funds are on the menu already. But a lot of times it's just an email or it's a phone number. And I'm sure that's fine for, a lot of donors that maybe are used to giving that way, or older donors are very comfortable in sort of giving to, where they have to call up their broker and, they want to talk to live people. And like, that's all great. That's fantastic. But the conversion rate on, making these gifts more automatic and seamless and frictionless is huge. And especially for those younger donors that aren't going to pick up the phone and they're not going to email. I mean, they'd rather just, we'll put a slide up here that really shows like our stock donation flow. So much easier to kind of just have the automated nature of this, where I can just plug in my shares of stock. I can put in my information, put in my broker's information, my broker's email, my broker's phone number, and sign an authorization form to transfer, 10 shares of Apple, and have that all happen in an automated process that a donor can do whenever they want. So, the fundraising tip of this week, that stock flow and the DAF flow, because if you are someone out there that's got an email address or a phone number, you could be missing on a lot of donors that are already in your ecosystem that would maybe give if it was a little less onerous, or they didn't have to pick up the phone and call and things like that. So just want to have folks take a look at, if you're someone with those phone and email type of setup, give us a call. We've built a better mousetrap for this, and the conversion rate on these gifts is huge.
Sounds like to me
And
that,
that's going to kind of round out. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, hate to interrupt here, but if I'm reading between the lines, it sounds to me like the emphasis, obviously we talk about the giving block in a lot of our solutions, but I think for nonprofit professionals that might be listening, right? If I'm interpreting what you're saying correctly, it sounds a lot like, think about the user experience of your donor, regardless of how they're giving. And I think optimizing that so that when an asset appreciates or a rising tide lifts all boats, it's just one less friction point for folks to find you or donate funds. Is that kind of how you're positioning this when you talk to clients?
Yeah, absolutely. And when it comes to, crypto specifically, if I can kind of give like maybe like a breakdown of sort of like 5 like easy points, way to think about it. When a crypto donor is doing their research to find a nonprofit to give to, one, make sure that you're showing up in the search and you're optimizing for those keywords, right? Make sure that you're easily discoverable. Make sure they understand how that gift can impact the mission. Again, those, nonprofits do a really great job of talking about like how this crypto gift can, really impact what they're trying to do, build a school, build a new well, whatever it might be. Make it easy for them to give through like a dedicated like crypto giving page. So again, make it easy for them to see that like crypto is right there on the menu. Make sure they're aware of the tax benefits and why it's so much more advantageous to give crypto over cash. And then lastly, just pull on the heartstrings just like they would any other donor. You're using all the same muscles that you're doing. So you're not having to, build an entirely new thing here. It's all the same things that, you're a fundraising professional is normally doing. So those are kind of like the 5 tips I would leave along with that. So those wrap up this week's fundraising tips, but let's move on to the news now. Pietro, a lot happening this week in the crypto industry.
Yeah, you said it. It's almost like too much to keep up with. And quite frankly, this is, I'd rather have more going on than less. So this is what we live for, right? Couple, things that I really wanted to address on. Talked about it a bit in the price recap earlier. Ethereum being up to around $3,800. People might be wondering what's going on there. We've seen mostly Bitcoin lead the charge this cycle around new investor interest as well as new inflows into the space. The one thing that just happened a couple days ago is that the SEC actually reached out to ETF issuers for a potential ETH ETF. I know we've already referenced in past shows and generally in the news, you might see Bitcoin ETF talk, which is an already, allowed and approved product that you can buy in your brokerage, in your traditional investing account. The natural progression of that is to expand it across assets. And so now issuers are looking at an ETH ETF, and we're talking about the BlackRocks, the Fidelities, the, Galaxies of the world that are looking at Ethereum as another product that they want to add into an ETF basket or issue their own ETF around it. And the SEC reached out to those particular folks and asked them to amend their filings on an accelerated basis. Now, I give no predictions or try to give advice, on the show, but just in terms of opinion here, I think this means that this is a constructive dialogue that's going on between regulators and the financial institutions looking to bring this product to market. And if there's one highlight of the week, I would say it's the word constructive. It feels like a lot of the developments are happening in such a way that we're moving towards an ideal goal of having this be a regulated, approved product with, investor protection that's commensurate with what we would see in traditional finance. I think these are all really helpful things to see. When you ask this accelerated filing or amendment for a filing, at least in my view, it looks like they're trending towards some sort of resolution or at least past a particular blocker that has held up these, investment. I thought that it's also the reason for the price appreciation of rising tide lifts all boats, as we say. We tend to see more, matriculation of those assets, always a good positive element. The other thing I'll touch on very quickly is that the US Senate actually passed a measure to withdraw an SEC accounting bulletin. This particular legislation is called skip the jargon and just get to the facts here. All that means is certain institutions could not properly account for Bitcoin or any other crypto asset on their balance sheet. And so they were precluded or reserved from participating in the way they might otherwise want to. I don't know if this is a closed conversation yet, but again, within that theme of being constructive this week, we're seeing a lot of developments out of Washington that are at least in the crypto industry's favor.
Yeah, absolutely. And
And
to kind of round things out, I mean, on that point around, favorability increasing in Washington. I mean, we saw a statement out of, the White House saying that they were looking forward to working on a new regulatory reporting structure for digital assets with Congress. So all in all, with all these developments, we're seeing a 180-degree turnaround from regulators wanting to engage and provide a more regulated way for people to engage, with these products. So overall, the regulatory regime in crypto becoming much more favorable, much more clear-cut, clear rules of the road for everybody to operate with. And that's what the industry's been begging for such a long time. So really, really positive developments here in the space. Well, a lot that we packed in this week. We're going to close it out here, but there's a lot more to come. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week. And I'm sure we're going to have more donations that are going to be, hitting the wires. We'll update you on some more fundraising tips as usual. So hit that subscribe button, send us out to, to a friend if you have other nonprofits that you think would benefit from this. And if you've got some questions too, we'd love to answer them on the show. So please feel free to check out the show notes for all the relevant links. And so on behalf of Pietro and myself, we'll see you next week.